dear students, how are you all? I hope you all are healthy. So students, I'm your science educator and from today onwards, I will be taking your science classes. Today we have chapter number 1, green plants. So today we are going to learn about the plant which is green in color. Oh, most of the plants we have green, but some of we have other colors as well. But in this chapter we will detail. इसे दोबारा से कर लेना. So students, today we have chapter number chapter number 1, green plants. But before starting this chapter, have a look on your learning objectives. First, photosynthesis. Green plants make their own food. Next, how do plants use their food? Third, activities on photosynthesis. Fourth, food chain and flow of energy. And fifth, interdependence of plants and animals. So let's get started. We see many plants around us, trees, shrubs and herbs. So basically we have three types of plants around us. First one, trees. Second one, herbs. And third one, shrubs. Okay. They live in different surroundings. All living organisms require energy to carry out various life activities and they obtain this energy from the food they consume. So what we understand here, all living beings, doesn't matter plants, animals or human beings, insect or small microorganisms as well, all living organisms need food for energy, and just because of that they consume plant as the food. So in other words, all living things need constant supply of food to stay alive. Animals obtain their food from plants, while green plants have the remarkable ability to produce their own food. So what we understand here, that all living organisms need food. So all of them have to arrange their food supply, right? So plants have incredibility. They can make their food on. But humans, insects, animals, they have to rely on the plant. So first we have to understand how is it possible, how plants can make their food. So let's get started. So here we have the process with the help of so next we have the process, the food formation process of the plants. That's called your photosynthesis. Green plants make their own food. So what we understand here, all plants depends on their leaves as they are their main food making units. Leaves are therefore called the food factories or the kitchen of the plant. So what we understand here, that all plants depend on their leaves to make food, and that is why we call food the food factory, or we can also say leaf are the kitchen of the plant. Now, why we called it kitchen of the plant? Because the whole process, the process of making food, the photosynthesis process is happening on the leaves only, not other parts. So, leaves are the green parts of the plants need for things as raw materials for making food. So, if we want to make tea, what are the things we need? First, we need milk. Second, we need chai patti. Third, we need sugar. And if you want to add ginger or cinnamon powder, etc., this is extra things. That's it. So to make foods, to proceed photosynthesis, plants need four things. These are the raw materials to make their own food. The first thing, chlorophyll. As the name suggests, chlorophyll, it is present in the leaves. It is the green material pigment which is capable of capturing the sun energy. So what we understand here? That chlorophyll, it is green in color just because of the chlorophyll. Leaves have this green color, and this green color capture the light of the sunlight, and then the photosynthesis will be start. Now light or sun's energy, it comes from the sun. Without sun's energy we cannot say, basically we can say that the sun's light, it's like a fuel for the plants. Without fuel they cannot make their food. For example, for us, if we don't have the gas, how can we make our food? We cannot eat the raw materials only, right? We need heat to boil our rice, etc. and etc. Similarly, plants also need light from sun to make their food. The third thing, carbon dioxide. It is absorbed from the atmosphere through a stomata present on the leaf of the surface. So we have stomata on the leaf of the surface, the small particles. With the help of these small particles, plants can breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. That oxygen which is very important for living organisms. Next, water. It is absorbed from the soil through the root system. After the preparation of food, sugar, oxygen and excess water are released. The process by which green parts of the plant, especially leaves, make their own food, it's called photosynthesis. So the whole process in which plants make their food, that process is referred as photosynthesis. The photosynthesis, what meaning is, photo means light, okay, and synthesis means to put together. With the help of light, with the help of sunlight, we put chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide together. So what we have to understand with the help of photosynthesis. So here we have photo means sunlight and synthesis means to put together. So we have three other things as well as the raw material for the photosynthesis process. So we have carbon dioxide, we have chlorophyll, we have water. So with the help of sunlight, with the help of photo, basically we put these three things together to make our food, and that is why this process is referred as photosynthesis. Now, since plants need sunlight for the process of photosynthesis to make food, they are not able to make food at night. So, sunlight is present only at daytime. So, this process only happen in the daytime only, not in at night. Okay, not at night time. Next, we have how do plants use their food. So, the food made by green plants is in the form of simple sugar. The plants uses the food to get energy and for growth. Extra food is stored mainly in the form of starch and the rest as sugars, fats and proteins. We eat these parts of plants as vegetables or fruits which have food stored in them. So what we understand here, that this food is still used by the plants in the form of food basically, and they get energy. So this food is present in the plants in the form of simple sugar. After this taken by the plants, they need this food is stored by the plants in different parts of the plants, and this further will be consumed by the living organisms in the form of vegetables, in the form of fruits, the stored food of the plants. Now next we have some plants such as molds and mushrooms are non-green. They lack chlorophyll and as a result cannot prepare their own food. Instead, they obtain their nutrients from dead and decaying plants and animals. These plants are called the saprophytes. So what we understand here, chlorophyll is one of the main ingredient for the process of photosynthesis. If we have lack amount of chlorophyll, or if such some of the plants who do not have chlorophyll, it is self understood that those plants are not able to make their food own. So if the plants are not able to make their food own, so they have to depend on some another things. So in this case, moths and mushroom, which is one of the examples of saprophytes, they are depending upon the decaying plants and dead animals for their food. And those plants who cannot make their food own, that refer as the saprophytes. And the examples we have moths and mushrooms. Next we have food chain and flow of energy. So as the name suggests, food chain means it is a chain plate. It is a food taking process we have, which is continue in the chain process. Okay, all animals depend directly or indirectly on green plants for their food. We know that herbivorous animals means plant eating animals, are dependent upon the plants, right? And herbivorous animals depend directly on plants, and carnivorous animals, flesh eating animals, depend on herbivorous animals for their food. Thus when carnivores eat herbivorous, they are indirectly eating food prepared by plants. So what we understand here, plants are able to make their food own, right? This plant is eaten by the herbivores who only eat plant eating, okay, who only eat plant based things. So now this herbivorous is eaten by the carnivores. So indirectly, carnivores eaten herbivorous animals as well as the plant which is present in the stomach of the herbivores. So we can say that all these three, plants, herbivorous and carnivorous, are interlinked to the food chain. Plants is eaten by the deer, deer is eaten by the tiger, and further other animals we also have. For example, we have fish. So insects, plants is eaten by the insects is eaten by the fish, and fish is eaten by the human being. So this is a food chain we have. Now green plants get the energy to prepare their food from the sun. So the sun is the main source of energy for all living things. So what we understand here, that sun plays a very important role. If directly or indirectly we are depending upon the plants for our food, and we all know that plants cannot make their food without the sun. So it means sun is one of the main source of the energy we have. Now energy can often be transferred from one living thing organism to another through a food chain. The food chain starts with the light of the sun and green plants. So first of all, plants need sunlight. So first of all, plants need sunlight to make their food. Further, this plant is eaten by deer. This deer is eaten by the tiger, or we can also say the human being. So it is referred as your food chain, where energy is transferred from one living organisms to the, in which we understand here that energy is transferred from one organism to the another organism. Okay, next we have grass and other green plants use sunlight to grow and produce food. They are primary producers. Herbivores eat grass or other plants and convert them to animals' fats and energy. Thus, herbivores are primary consumers. So, what we understand here, when plants made their food own, so they are referred as primary producers. Okay, and this primary producers is eaten by the primary herbivores, because firstly plants is eaten by the animals or the human beings who only vegetarian, so those are referred as your primary consumers. Now this herbivorous animals is eaten by your carnivorous animals, so those are referred as secondary consumers. So carnivorous and non-vegetarian eat flesh herbivores, then thus they are secondary consumers. When plants primary producers and animals consumers die, their remains are broken down by decomposers, example fungi and bacteria. So what we understand here, that the plants and animals after that they are converted into decomposers with the help of fungi and bacteria. Now we have interdependence of plants and animals. In this, what we understand here, that animals and plants are interdependent to each other. Without plants, animals cannot eat anything, because they are depending for the food upon the plants, and similarly plants also dependent upon the animals. But how? Let's see here. In the living world, no organism is capable for preparing its food like the green plants. Therefore, the animals are dependent on plants for their food. Animals survive by consuming grass, fruits, leaves, tubers, grains, and so on obtained from plants. Animals also depend for their supply of oxygen on green plants. So what we understand here, that animals are dependent upon the plants for their food and for their oxygen. Okay, but one of the main important thing is that plants are also dependent upon the animals, because plants need carbon dioxide to make food. They take it from the atmosphere. Where does the carbon dioxide come from? It comes from the animals. They breathe out carbon dioxide, thus plants are dependent on animals indirectly. So for making food, in the process of photosynthesis, plants need carbon dioxide as one of the raw material, and they take it from the atmosphere. But carbon dioxide get in atmosphere when animals breathe out carbon dioxide. It means plants are also dependent upon the animals for their carbon dioxide. Next we have, it is not healthy to stay under the trees during night. Why? Because at night plants do not carry out photosynthesis, so the carbon dioxide gas is not absorbed from the air and oxygen is not released. At that time, the respiration rate is high, as carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere by plants, which is harmful to human beings. So what we understand here, that plants only exhale out oxygen in the daytime, because at that time they made their food with the help of photosynthesis. But in night time, during night time, they cannot make their food because there is no sun, so they are exhale out carbon dioxide. We human beings, all other living organisms are also exhale out carbon dioxide, so the carbon dioxide amount goes increases and it will be harmful for the living organisms health. So it is advisable for us that we should avoid to stay under the trees during the night. Next we have during night. It is advisable for human beings to avoid stay under the tree during night. Next, life of animals will be endangered if all green plants are destroyed. We already know that plants are plays in a very important role in our life, but why? Let's see here. Green plants are the main source of food for all living organisms. Oxygen liberated during photosynthesis helps in respiration and maintains carbon dioxide oxygen balance in nature. If green plants are destroyed, there will be no food available and no oxygen will be released into the air, so life would be impossible. So what we understand here, that plants plays in a very important role, because all living organisms are dependent upon the plants for their food. This is the first main thing which is given by the plant. Next, plants are also give us oxygen, and they also balance the level of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And without oxygen and without food, we cannot imagine our life. So it means human beings, living organism life will be endangered if there are no plants. So this is the end of your chapter, students. I hope so you understood about the green plants, how they make food, how they made their food, what are the importance of green plants in our life. Now I'm going to meet you in your next class. Till that, have a good revision and bye-bye.